YouTube, what's going on? New week, new track guide for the MX5. Oulton Park Fosters is the circuit we are going around today. And let's have a look at the track conditions. So we have 78 degrees Fahrenheit, track temperature of 116 degrees Fahrenheit, winds north 2 miles an hour, and then the usual standard stuff. Need to make sure that I actually load the baseline setup. There we go. So now we've got the baseline set up on. We're going to do some laps. We're going to figure out how to drive around here. Let's drive. Okay, so I'm just going to come out the pits here. I'll be honest with you, Oulton Park is probably one of my least favourite tracks. Not all that great. A few awkward turns. But it's a track that a lot of people love, and the Foster's variation is a bit more technical. It's a bit more my speed, if I'm being honest. Watching out for that bump there. Come through Knickerbrook, I'm pretty sure this is flat out. Yeah, no problems through there. And then we go up the hill, past Water Tower, and then into Druids, which is a double right-hander, which is quite tricky at first, but once you get it nailed, super easy. Just drop it down to third gear. As he says, it's easy, he messes it up. And then we come into the tricky last turn as well. A turn that you need to dive into a little bit because of the crest on the exit. You also need to modulate your throttle. Just a wee bit. That upshift can upset the car. And then we're up this hill and across the line into turn number 1. So braking at the boards on the left hand side, down to third gear, and just sort of trying to clip the grass. Too much, you'll get a 1x, same on the exit. That's why I hate this track so much, to be honest with you. It's just littered with potential 1x's, especially if you cut corners that much. Blimey. Solid little cut of that second turn, no, the third turn though, sorry. Managed to straddle the big sausage curb on the inside, which is very good. Knickerbrook again, no problem at all. And let's try and nail Druids. Dropping down to third gear, carrying tons of speed in here. For some reason my car doesn't want to shift down to third gear. Interesting. As you can see, just a bit of hesitation there as was on the curb. A little bit too much. Car got a little bit unsettled. Didn't want to go full throttle straight away. Just sort of stabilised in the car. Too much curb on the inside. Chucks me out to the outside as well. Just a case of covering the brake down this downhill left and then braking where the grass starts, really, on the left hand side. Don't miss your shift from second to third, that's a top tip. Well, now I'm getting a feel for the track. The only corner that I'm really struggling with that I wouldn't normally be is Druids. And it's just simply, I can't get it into gear, so I might start using the clutch on downshift here if that persists. Although, I seem to have nailed it there. Line could still do with some work, but not too bad. And we're starting to pick up the pace now, consistently. Into the mid 107s, not bad at all. All about sort of diving into that first turn, just getting your car on the apex nice and settled and then powering out. I'm not going to use the brakes this time, just going to dive in and lift and then brake where the grass starts. Tried to straddle that curb, didn't quite pan out, so my two inside tyres ended up clattering into it. Lost a lot of momentum because of that, but on we go. Knickerbrook again, not much of a nothing corner this season, not even a lift. Bit of understeer there that I'm not quite used to. Normally I'd be expecting the back of the car to step out. Let's just bleed some time off there. I don't want to have a time that's invalid as the quickest lap. So, looking for the black sign on the left, brake. Cut it a bit too much, turned in a bit too early, started bleeding off the brakes too soon, which let my car rotate a bit more. So I just need to be careful of that. Then a lift as we go down the crest. Braking just there. I'm going to try and not straddle the sausage curb on the inside next lap. And see how that goes. Now the final challenge really is Druids. There is some dust on the track where I brake. You can see it's just here after the shadow. Drift up to that inside curb. Slowed down a little bit too much just to make sure I got the car turned. What ended up happening was too tight, clipping the second curb too much, which is not good. Again, last turn braking where the dust is on the track. And there you have it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and do a few more laps, try and improve the lap time. Hopefully we'll see a low 107. Stay tuned. Woo, baby! Okay guys, so here we have it. The very next lap, I set a 107.1, which I'm pretty pleased with. A 0.183, just crept into the 0.1s there. I'm sure this season, this week, we'll be able to see a 106 in race conditions. But I'm just going to walk through the lap quite quickly here. Point out a few things that I was talking about as I was learning the track, as we were driving around it together. So let's dive in. So, coming across the start-finish line, we're in 4th gear, and we're looking to spot our braking point for turn number 1. So if you just roll it back just a few frames here. If you look at this sign on the left-hand side, Jordan Bikes. That is what I'm looking at for my braking point. If we roll it forward slowly here, what you'll see is as that sign starts to disappear by this pillar on the left-hand side of the car, that's when I start to come off the throttle and apply the brakes. And if we roll it forward slowly, you'll see that initially it's a stab at the brakes, and then we come off fairly quickly. We drop it down to 3rd gear, and pretty much as soon as we're in 3rd gear, that's when I start to trail the brakes a bit. And then I'm using the throttle here to sort of steady the car, because I was heading towards the inside too much. So just a blip of throttle, what that's going to do is cause the weight of the car, the weight to go towards the rear of the car. So it takes a bit of load off the front tyres, which is going to make the car understeer, or turn less basically, and that's without me changing my steering angle whatsoever. It's simply just a stab at the throttle, something to bear in mind. We roll it forward again here, as you can see, start to apply the power just before I straddle the curb, as I know that I'm going to make the corner. You know, when you've done a few laps, you get a feel for the car, you get a feel for the track, you understand what's going to happen. So I start to apply the power as soon as possible. Normally I'd say the latest you want to do it is when you're actually straddling this curb, but because I've managed to get the car settled in a way that I like, full power, really, really fast here. Then we're up to 4th gear as we head down the hill, and I'm going to have to pause it here again. And I just want to point out, we roll it back just a few frames again. We have this crest here, if you can see. It's a crest. You can also see the barrier here. It's got a green and white diagonal stripe on it. That is something you can use. However, as it's more in your peripheral vision, it's not something I'd recommend. So I just use the crest as it's actually on the track. I'm sure if you've done a few laps around Oulton Park, you'll be fully aware of this. So as your car goes over or goes down this crest, this little dip in the road, that's when I like to turn, and that's when I like to lift off the throttle to make the car turn even more. So we just roll it through here quite slowly, start to turn, then we lift, and then we put the power back on. As you can see, I'm just blipping again. You may have noticed the understeer that I induced there. Something to bear in mind again. And then as soon as we're through this left-hander, we want to try and line our car up on the extreme left of the track. You know, that left-hander that we've just gone through there, you can go through it much faster. However, you'll end up on the right-hand side of the track, which in this case is the wrong-hand side, if that makes sense. So what we want to do is be on the left-hand side. That's why we lifted as we were going through the left. So we're more central, more towards the left. And as for a braking point for this difficult right-hander, I like to use, well, where the grass is what I said on the laps, but what I really meant is where this line is. Where the other track ribbon, the international circuit goes off, that's when we brake. So as you can see, if we play it forward, let's roll it back again, sorry. Play it forward in slow motion here. Start to brake now. And that's just as my car's, it's probably a few meters before my car's near that line, but in my mind, when I'm driving full speed, my car's next to it, that's when I'm braking. And I'm aiming to get the car to this curb. We need to be in second gear for this right-hander. And I just want to do a straight line to this curb. Then when I approach this curb, I'm going to start to turn in for the right-hander. If we play it, as you can see, I'm braking very hard, down to third, down to second. We're at the curb, we turn in, we come off the brakes to try and induce more oversteer. And unfortunately, as you can see, I absolutely smack that curb. That is not ideal, so there's definitely still more time in this. I'd say the ideal line is to straddle the sausage curb on the inside there. It's not easy to do, but with some practice, I'm sure you'll be able to do it no problem. It's just a case of braking a little bit earlier than I did. And that's going to, you're essentially cutting the corner. It's going to make it faster, easier. The other option is to go on the inside of the outside, the inside, the outside. Avoid the sausage curb altogether, basically by keeping all four wheels on the track and just clipping the small part of the curb. There's nothing wrong with doing that at all. It is faster than smacking the curb like I did here. So if you're going to practice for this, I'd advise that you make a decision, see what you can do better, see what's more comfortable with you, and then stick to it. Because if you do what I did here, you're going to lose a tenth, maybe more, just based on loss of traction. You haven't got all four wheels on the track, you can't turn as much, you can't put as much power down, and your car's just unsettled, just in general. So if we roll it forward here, as you can see, up to third gear, and then we're heading towards Knickerbrook. Just flat out, nice and easy, not too difficult at all, just keep it nice and tight, up to fourth gear, and then we head up the hill. Now again, there's a slight left here, known as Water Tower, I believe. So we just fly through this left-hander and make sure that we line the car up on the left-hand side. Obviously to do this, I like to get close to this curb. If we just roll it back just a bit. Just this curb on the inside. I like to make sure my car's close to this, as when we roll it forward, you'll see it just lends to keeping your car to the left, obviously. Braking point for Druids, this double right-hander. I like to use this patch of dirt on the track. It's always there. You can see it in almost every single weather condition. I'd say the only one you can't see it in is if it's very muggy, cloudy, foggy maybe. But I've never actually experienced, never encountered a race around Oulton Park where I haven't been able to see that. If you're looking for something else, there's obviously this bit of sand or resurfaced asphalt that's been used. Looks like there's been an oil spill and it's been covered up. Basically, when that ends is about the same as where this patch of dust is, patch of dirt. So you can use that as well. And our goal here is to brake down to third gear and dive into this double right-hander. Because it's a double right-hander, you want to essentially glance the first curb, then you hit your apex speed, which is the slowest speed of the corner, and then you power out and glance the curb on the inside of the second part of this turn. So let's roll through this slowly. As you can see, I'm braking fairly gently for this double right, dropping it down to third gear. As you can see, I'm really cranking on the wheel, clipping that curb, and I just begin to start putting the power down here. 81 miles an hour, 82 miles an hour, really cranking on that steering wheel. Just missed the curb. As I say, when I was driving around here, I did notice that there was some understeer through Druids for some reason. Whether that's just the update to the car this season, or whether it's my driving style, I'm unsure. Anyway, up to fourth gear on exit, and then we fly down the back straight as we approach the last turn. As for braking markers, you have this right arrow as an indicator. I use it as a sort of visual reminder. I know I need to brake soon, not just yet, but be prepared. Obviously, when you're racing someone, if you're right behind someone, that's a nice little reminder that you can see as you drive by it. By the time you've driven past that, you pretty much need to brake in a racing situation. So just bear that in mind. So if we roll it forward again, this is the real braking point here. This is my reminder. This dirt patch. As you can tell, I love the dirt patches. And as you can see, if you look down here in the bottom left, I am actually already braking, which is a surprise to me. It's something I've learned about myself whilst I've been driving this track. This visual reminder that I use, I obviously brake beforehand. So something for you to bear in mind. Don't brake exactly on the start of this. Brake a little bit before. And we're going to drop the car all the way down to second gear, and we need to dive into this turn and keep the car tight to the curb on the inside. If you carry more speed into the turn than you may think, this will help you on the exit of the turn, as there is a crest that you shift up to third gear in. If you were to apex not quite as late, if this was a normal hairpin as such, and you were to apex and treat it like a normal hairpin, as you went over this crest and you shifted up, you'd be carrying too much speed, the car would go too light, and you'd lose the back end. There'd be lots of oversteer. So to counteract this, I get through the turn quicker and on the power later, and this, for me, works out very nicely. So let's just roll it forward, braking very hard, down to second gear, and then we start to trail off the brakes, trying to get the car on the inside of this curb here. Super slow-mo, didn't mean to do that. As you can see, I put the power on, still not full power until we come off the curb, and then maybe we can speed this up a bit. And as you can see, we shift up to third and we're pretty much on the crest. So fortunately, we don't need to deal with any oversteer there at all. And I like to think that's because of the way I take the turn. And once you've done that, simple as, just up to fourth gear and you cross the line with a time of 107.183. As always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate if you would hit that subscribe button. If you like the video, please like the video. If you're not a member of the Discord, please join the Discord using the link down below. We've got all sorts of data files, telemetry data, as I clout the wall. You can join the team on VRS that I've set up. Obviously, I'm not affiliated with VRS at all. However, it is a really good feature. You get to see my telemetry data from any session that I've been in at all, not just the ones I upload to YouTube and put in the Discord. So please check it out. Catch you guys next time.